All right, we'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. And once again, thank you for the co-creation of this interaction and the gift that you are giving to us in allowing us to experience each and every one of you as a different facet of the multidimensional crystal of creation, or as Willa might put it, as all the different shards of the shattered mirror. Now, before we facilitate Willa to speak to you about the winter spirit and the elementals, we would like to add a little, well, we'll call it a little bonus monologue. In that she explained to you in the transmission last night of your time the idea of the 5 levels of mastery, being the Cryptic, the Nocturnal, the Shapeshifter, the Sage, and the Wraith, being represented symbolically by the triangle of the mountain of earth, the connection to earth, by the wavy line, the nocturnals in the night, the secrets, the wavy line of the water, the emotional depths therein, the arch of the sky representing the shapeshifters to represent the changing weather patterns, the idea of the circle representing the sage, which represents space and the void, and the idea of the dot, which represents the wraith, which is spirit and source. There is also a crossover, direct analogy between the 5 levels of mastery and the 5 laws. Number 1, you exist. The level of the Cryptic, it is a statement of your existence on earth, a connection and an expression of your life as it is, in the way that you are familiar. Law number 2, everything is here and now. Thus, in the level of the nocturnal, connecting into parallel realities, it is the beginning of the awareness that everything exists all at once and that you can connect to those parallel realities. Law number 3, the one is the all are the one, representing the ability of the shapeshifter to call upon those parallel versions of themselves and represent them to others, actually appearing to turn into those other representations and demonstrating that the one is the all and the all are the one, and it is all interchangeable reflections of each other. The 4th law, what you put out is what you get back, being represented by the sage, who can actually call upon those parallel realities and actually transform entire environments into other worlds, other realities, manifest things out of the void, out of apparently thin air, putting out that vibration that allows them to relate to other realities so strongly that they can transmit that vibration to others so that they can perceive the changes in that reality too. And the 5th law, everything changes except the laws, being represented by the Wraith, who thus bridges physical and non-physical reality, matter and spirit, and can call upon the idea of changing the template, the very foundational underlying blueprint of physical reality, to manifest all sorts of transformations, not only in the physical world, but in spirit as well, simultaneously turning physical reality into a living spiritual dream. So the 5 laws correspond very directly to the idea of the expressions of the 5 levels of mastery. Just so you have a more complete picture of the system that is in existence and the knowledge that is expressed 700 years in your future by Willa and many of the hybrids that exist at that time blended into your society on its way to becoming fully the 6th hybrid race. Now then, we were talking last time about the idea of the 5 levels of mastery. The first being called the Cryptic, the second being called the Nocturnal, the third being called the Shapeshifter, the 4th being called the Sage, and the 5th being called the Wraith. On the level of mastery of the Cryptic, you learn to make deep connections to nature so that you are grounded and anchored to the earth and connected and communing with nature. It keeps you grounded for the exploration of the other dimensions that come with the other levels of mastery. The idea of the nocturnal is where you begin to truly access and understand and experience connection to parallel lives. The shapeshifter is where you not only connect and are aware of those parallel lives, but you can actually create a field around yourself wherein the vibration will allow you to represent the idea of another shape, another version of yourselves in other realities to the degree that others can also perceive it. So you'll look like you're changing your shape, but it's not a molecular shift. It's simply a reflective representation of another parallel version of yourself, whether it looks like you or not. And then the idea of the sage is that they can create a field around their body that allows others to see them changing the physical reality around them, bringing into focus the idea of another parallel world and allowing that bubble reality to be reflected and represented in your reality so that others may even experience the change around them. This is typically what you would call magic, but it is simply calling upon the vibration of a parallel reality so strongly that others will perceive the change in your reality. And then there is the idea of the Wraith, which allows you to connect to spirit and express the idea, as the Bashar has talked about, of being quasi-physical, having the idea of spiritual reality impinge itself more concretely and more physically into physical reality so that space and time become dissolved in very specific ways so that you can really go into and experience and reflect other dimensions within your own reality, creating that experience within the bubble.